Welcome to Worship Support Network. We're so excited you're on the team. My name's Elijah and I'm the founder of WSN. In this quick onboarding, we're going to talk about a couple things: who we are, what we do, and a little bit of how it works. WSN was founded in April of 2014 with the vision of standing in the gap for the local church. We do this by providing weekly contracting, interim services that can last anywhere from 3 to 6 months, sometimes even a year, and also job placement. So you've already filled out an application. Now we're on to the HR documents, or in other words, human resources documents. The first part of our human relations documents are a W-9. It's important that you know that Worship Support Network is contracting you to be a part of our team. We're gonna send you to all sorts of clients, but it's important that you know that we're gonna be the ones paying you. So every year, we'll summarize what we've paid you, when we've paid you, and we're gonna send you what's called a 1099 document. That means that you're a contractor working for our company. If a church ever tries to send you a 1099, just remind them that Worship Support will take care of that. The next part of your onboarding process is the direct deposit form. What that is an electronic form that lets us pay you right to your bank account anytime that you serve. On Sundays, we'll send what's called a checkout text. Once you fill that out, it'll send a survey to us and it'll send a digital ping to our payroll system, and they're notified that you fulfilled your project and we need to pay you. The way that we typically pay is any Monday after you've filled a project, our payroll team will send out pay to your account. That typically takes 2 to 3 business days, depending on your bank. On occasion, there's what's called banking holidays. There's roughly 6 of those every year, and that could delay your payment by 1 day. But we try to give you a heads up before that happens. The next thing we need to talk about is the team contract. This contract is a liability form that covers you and us. It's things that we're committing to you and things that we need you to commit to us. There's lots of stuff in there, so if you ever have questions, we really want you to read it and ask. But here's 3 things that are really important to us. The first thing is this: each team member, that's you, works for Worship Support Network. Sometimes we might send you to a church over and over and over. It's important that you know that your accountability is not to that church, it is specifically to us. Number 2 is our communication protocols. We have some really specific ways that we need each team member to communicate so that it protects you and it protects us and it protects the church. Each time we send you out, we're gonna connect you to our client either through email or through our web app. Whenever we connect you, there's a few protocols that are really important to us. One is this: make sure that you reply all. The reason that we ask you to reply all is because there's 3 things that usually happen and we wanna help if we can. The first thing is this: sometimes team members have emergencies and they need to call out. The last thing that we want to do when you're having an emergency is ask you to help us get information from the church. We want to just pop into the email, see what's going on, and let you take care of anything that's happening in your life that needs some urgent help. It's important too that whenever you're having an emergency or whenever you have to call out of a service, that you tell us directly first. A lot of times we don't want to alert our client that something is happening or that they're about to lose somebody. We'd rather find a solution before we notify the church that we're replacing somebody. So if you ever have an emergency or if you ever need to call out of a project, let us know first and we'll take it from there. The second reason why we want you to reply all is because sometimes churches become unresponsive, and if they do, we want to just pop in and remind them that you're waiting for some help. So make sure that you reply all so that we can see what's going on in the chain of communication, pop in and help where we're needed. The last reason why we want you to make sure that you reply all is simply because from time to time, there's misperceptions that happen. Sometimes a client can say something a little brash, or our team can say something that they perceive that way. And if there's ever any sort of conflict, we want to make sure that we can pop in and help resolve it. Make sure that you reply all and loop us into every point of communication you have with our client. A lot of people ask about, well, what if I want to jump on a phone call, or what if I just want to do a text thread with the church? What we ask is that you remain either in our web app or an email. If there's an absolute need to jump on a phone call, you can totally do that. Where you can find that information is in your project assignment email. But what we ask is that you pop in the email afterward and just summarize anything that you talked about with the church. That way, we're in the loop. And again, if you ever need to call out, we don't have to hit you up for information for things that you've already talked about. From time to time, churches might ask, hey, can we jump on a text thread? And sometimes they forget to reply all to emails, even though that's a standard of ours for them as well. If that ever happens, or if we ever fall out of the loop of communication, just remind the church, hey, please make sure you reply all, or if they jump on a text thread, send them our number so that we can be looped in as well. The last thing we want to talk about is our non-solicitation agreement. What that means is this: we want to open it up. We don't want to limit you. Outside of Worship Support Network, you can contract with whoever you want. You can work with any church you want to work with. If we send you to a church that's one of our clients, that you've not had a pre-existing relationship, we ask that that relationship remains ours. So if you ever want to play with that church again, or if you want to work with them more regularly, you can simply just let us know. And anytime they make a request, as long as they're okay with that preference, we'll plug you in. Additionally, with the non-solicitation agreement, there might be times where churches are really interested in hiring you. Now, we've already communicated this to churches, but we have a protocol for hiring. And if you ever are interested in working with a church directly and they're interested in hiring you, just simply let us know and we'll talk you through our Worship Support Network hiring process. To recap, the 3 things that we really want you to know when you're agreeing to our contract is this. First, you contract directly for Worship Support Network. You won't need a 1099 from churches or anything like that. We'll send that to you directly. And we ask that all communication, all reporting, anything that you need to say goes directly to us, and we'll consider how to share that with our clients. Second thing is this: make sure that you follow our communication protocols. If you're ever wondering what those are, you can just pop the contract open or watch this video again to walk through some of those. The last thing is our non-solicitation agreement. If you want to work with our clients, you're more than welcome to do that through us, or you're more than welcome to work with churches that aren't our clients outside of us. But if you work with us and we send you to a client, it's important that you stick to our non-solicitation agreement. That wraps up our HR protocols. Please keep in mind there's other things in that contract, so make sure that you read through it and ask us any questions, because it's important to us that you know what's in there, and we're more than happy to be transparent about how any of it works. Now that we've gone through who we are and the human resources part of what we do, let's talk about how it works from week to week. Now that you're in our system, it's as simple as sharing your availability with us. We'll track that availability and we'll send you opportunities when you're available. We'll send you an inquiry text whenever you're available. That text has a link in it. Once you press the link, it'll tell you everything about the opportunity ahead. Since you're a contractor, you don't need to accept every opportunity we send you. You're more than welcome to ask for a different opportunity if you want something closer, or if you have a different preference. We can certainly try to honor that every time we send you an inquiry. Once you accept a project, we're going to start coordinating with you to make sure you have everything you need for that church service. The way that we do that is sometimes via text, our web app, and email. Once you accept a project, we'll send a text asking you to start communication with the church. At that same time, we'll send 2 emails to you. One is called the project assignment email. That email has a PDF with all the information you would ever need to know about the church, from how many team members might be on stage, to their skill level, to their address, to cultural and demographic things. Anything you might want to know about that church is almost always in that email. There's also a couple reminders about our communication protocols in that. So we ask you every time we send you out, make sure you take a look at that. By the way, sometimes you might go to the same church over and over. We try to keep those project assignments up to date. So even if you've been there 10 times, it might be good for you to pop that open and just double check to make sure nothing's changed about their expectations. The second email we send you is called the connection email. That's going to connect you right to the points of contact of the church. If there's anybody that you need information from, they'll be right in that email thread. What we ask is that you reply all and check in right away and just say, hey, so-and-so church, I'm whoever, and I'm excited to serve with you. Let me know if there's anything you need. Some people wait for the church to reach out, and I want you to know it's our preference that you reach out first and check in. The day before your service, whether it's a midweek or a weekend, we'll check in and remind you where you're going and what time you need to be there. What we ask is, if you're feeling kind of sick that day, or if there's a potential family emergency that might be coming up, we want you to let us know that day. The reason why is because we want to start lining up a backup just in case, so that if you do need to call out, we'll have that ready and we can plug somebody else into the church without you having to worry about that or feeling bad about it. The last thing you're going to get is our project checkout. It's either going to come in text form or it's going to be in our web app. It's going to ask you a short survey of questions. It's really important that you fill that out, and it's also really, really important that you let us know if there's anything that the church did or anything that you did that we might need to confront with the church later. Once you fill that link out, it triggers your payroll and it alerts our team that you need to get paid because you finished your project. And that's about it. We're excited to have you on the team, and we're excited to help build better culture in the church together with you. Here's to all that's ahead. Thanks for being on our team and joining Worship Support Network.